Okay, guys, this is Unit 8. We're going to start with problem 6 and the additional problems, and we're going to go to 10. So number 6 says the area of a rectangle that is 5 feet by 17 feet is. Well, we know area is just length times width. So we can do 5 feet by 17 feet. And that is 85 square feet. It has linear feet and feet here in the options. Neither one of those are correct because we are doing area. Area is always square. So your answer is D. Okay, number 7. Let me get it to where you can see it. Number 7 says a single woman owned a tract of land 150 feet wide by 700 feet long with 150 fronting an east to west road. She sold the northern 300 feet linear, not square feet, but 300 linear feet of this tract. The remaining land was leased to a neighbor at the annual rate of $500 an acre. The neighbor's approximate yearly rent. So we're looking for yearly rent. Okay, so first let's find the area. So she owned a tract of land that was 150. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get it to where you can see. It was 150 feet by 700 feet. And so the area of the square feet, this is for the entire tract. Okay, and then we know that she sold the northern 300 feet linear. So we know that it was 150 feet wide. If she sold the northern part, that's 300 feet. So they gave us, this is a side because it's linear feet, they gave us linear footage, 300 feet. So you multiply that out, that is 45,000 square feet. So this is not the portion that was leased. The remaining land was leased to a neighbor. So we have to subtract to find out the remaining land. When you subtract that, you get 60,000 square feet. Okay, and it tells us that the rent was 500 an acre. So we have to take this is in square footage, we have to turn it into acres. So 60,000 divided by 43,560, that is how many square feet are in 1 acre. So the remaining land was 1.38 acres. She rented it for $500 per acre. When you multiply that out, the rent would be $688.71. So your answer is D. Number 8. A West Texas broker sold a triangular tract of land for $17.50 an acre. What is the amount of his commission at 8% if the land had a base length of 1,200 feet and the height of the triangle measured 700 feet? So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so it gives us the lengths in feet. Let's go ahead and find the area in feet and then we'll convert it to acre. The base length was 1,200 feet. And the height was 700. We're going to divide that by 2. Do that. If you do 1,200 times 700, it's 840,000. You're going to divide that by 2. That's 420,000 square feet. That's the area of the tract of land. But we need to divide that. We'll do it like this. Divide it by 43,560. This is how many square feet per acre. And when you do that, you get 9.64 acres. Okay, and the problem said that it was sold at $17.50 per acre. So let's multiply this by $17.50. When you multiply that out, the land was sold for $16,873.28. His commission was 8%, 0.08. His commission was $1,349.86. So your answer is C. And we rounded a little bit differently. I did, but that is your price. We were 2 cents off, meaning our rounding, we rounded in a couple of different places. Okay, so number 9, I'm going to try to squeeze this one on here. Number 9 says a seller owned a rectangular 10-acre tract of land with a frontage of 726 feet along the south side of a paved road. After selling the southern half of the tract, the owner fenced the remaining land at a cost of $2.50 per running or linear feet, the fence cost. So when you look at this, let's go ahead and break it down. We know that it was a 10-acre tract, but we are going to have to calculate by linear foot. So let's go ahead and take that 10-acre tract and break it up into square feet. And actually, we know he sold half of it. Let's go ahead and do that. So it was a 10-acre tract to begin with, but he only sold half of it. So we can divide it by 2, and we are now only dealing with 5 acres that are going to be fenced. So we take that 5 acres and multiply it by 43,560 square feet. You get 217,800 square feet. So this was the area of the 5-acre tract. Okay, and we know that the length, it fronted 726 feet. So that's one side. So let's divide, well, we can call it the length. It was 726 feet. When you divide that out, you get 300 feet. So we can call that the width. So now that we have the length and the width, we are looking for a fence, which is a perimeter. And perimeter is, I say, 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So we have 2 times 726 plus 2, do it that way, times 300 feet. Okay, and when you do this, this is 1,452 feet plus 600 feet. So that is the length of all the sides, which equals 2,052 feet. That's your perimeter. We know that the fencing costs $2.50 per linear foot. So we can multiply this by 2.5. And when you multiply that out, you get $5,130. So your answer is D. Go to number 10. Okay, and those in my in-person class, I struggled so hard with 10 that I just put a star beside it and was like, I need to look at that. But I did figure it out. Okay, so U-shaped barn consists of 2 rectangles, 30 by 75, and a connecting section, 20 feet by 50. The approximate cost, rounded to the whole dollar, of a concrete floor 4 inches thick at the rate of $36 per cubic yard is. So we know we're eventually going to have to get to cubic yard. But let's start out. So there are 2 rectangles. Let's just say not exact at all, but it'll give us a good idea. So the 2 rectangles were 30 by 75. So let's find the area of those. When you multiply 30 by 75, get 2250 square feet. So we know that each of these are 2250. Okay, so if you multiply that by 2, that's 4,500 square feet. That is for the 2 rectangles. Now we need to find this little section here, and it is 20 by 50. Okay, so when you multiply that out, that is 1,000 square feet. Okay, so you can add those 2 together. Let's say 1,000 square feet. So your total area is 5,500 square feet. Okay, but we are going to cubic yards. So instead of doing square feet, let's put this into yards. And we have to get to cubic feet first, okay? So you take the square foot, we're going to divide that by 3. That's 1,833.33 cubic feet. Now we have, so actually we're finding it in yards. So that's, well, we won't divide. We have to divide this. This is cubic feet. We're going to divide this by 27. Now this is converting it to yards. And there is a chart for this in your book earlier in the chapter. When you divide that, you get 67.9 cubic yards. And we know that the concrete is $36 per cubic yard. So we're going to multiply this by $36. And that comes out to $2,444. So your answer is C.